Rachel, good job on your body paragraphs. I can tell that you wrote from your outline. I just have a couple of things I want to go over with you about your essay, and then I'll give you your new objectives. The first one here where you did the Tim Tebow and you put this I, that's obviously not you, and you're the author of the paper, so you can't state it that way. You're going to have to revise it so that you can be the author, because you obviously don't have a 4-year-old son. So you'll have to make some changes. On a brisk Thursday in mid-November, instead of saying I, you could say Bronco fans. It's not letting me change it because it's a PDF. So instead of saying I here, you could have put Bronco fans sat in the stands on a Denver game, listening as cuss words are shouted at Tim Tebow, the struggling quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Let me go ahead and open a blank document here, because you're going to have to make yourself the author. Make this a little bit bigger here. On a brisk Thursday in mid-November, we'll just put fans. I don't know if it's Bronco fans or the other team's fans. Fans sat in the stands at a Denver game, listening as cuss words were shouted at Tim Tebow, the struggling quarterback. So you can see now you could be the author because you're relating someone else's experience, and you'll have your source in there to show where this information came from. And actually, fans shouldn't be capitalized. Fans sat in the stands at a Denver game listening as cuss words were shouted at Tim Tebow, the struggling quarterback of the Denver Broncos. So that gets this problem, the I problem. And also remember that when you do this type of writing, expository informational writing for a research paper, you cannot write in first person. So you can never say I. You're always going to have to restate a noun, and it can't be I or me. A couple of other things. Heckler's friend. We've got two nouns, so one's going to have to possess the other. Heckler's friend. But the heckler's friend wasn't joining in. Other things, you have some capitalization, like God should be capitalized, Lord should be capitalized, Broncos should be capitalized, Tebow, wait until the end of the fourth quarter, that's Tebow time. Anytime we start a quote, that should be capitalized, so this wait should be capitalized. And right here, you have a comma splice where you join two sentences with a comma. Go ahead and turn that into a semicolon. And then Tebow needs to be capitalized. Just go through and check your capitalization. United States, Japan. And this one sentence here, after a 40-day battle for his life, he peacefully passed away in the presence of his family, leaving behind a legacy that touched many lives. This comma right here is not necessary, and because you already have an introductory prepositional phrase, we can't turn it into an inverted sentence, so go ahead and take that comma out. For the Bo Jackson, the Elite Sports, that's probably the name of a business, so that needs to be capitalized. So just check your capitalization. This was a draft, so there's no penalty for any capitalization, punctuation, usage, or anything. Just wanted to get your writing down and get you started in the writing process. So you have your 3 paragraphs, and now we're going to do the next part of writing a research paper. So the first step was getting your sources. You had good sources, and then you're going to do your outlines, which you've done your outlines, and then you write from your outlines, and I can tell you used your outlines to write from. And you have your body paragraphs down, and now we're going to go into the introduction and conclusion of our research paper. And let me just show you if I can get my pen to work today. Been having problems with it. So you have your 3 body paragraphs. That's your paragraph number 1, and your second paragraph, and your third paragraph. And so now you're going to write your introductory paragraph and your conclusion. And remember, you can't write an introduction until you know what you're going to introduce. So you have to write your body paragraphs first. A lot of people want to start with the introduction, but until you get a good idea of what you're going to introduce, you can't write an introductory paragraph. So this is visually kind of a visual layout of what a research paper looks like. Now, a research paper could be longer. You could have 2 paragraphs devoted to one topic if you needed to, but right now we're doing the 5-paragraph essay, which is the basic essay, and it will serve you well in many situations, whether in college or work. Now, for your introduction, your introductory paragraph, you're going to start out very specific, and you're going to end with a thesis statement. And a thesis statement, thesis means position, so basically you're going to tell your readers your position on the topic, or basically what the topic is, and you're going to say something along this lines. This paper will discuss 3 sports the sports figures of, and then paragraph 1, whoever that is, paragraph 2, whoever that is, paragraph 3, whoever that is, and period. So your thesis statement ends your introductory, and this is a classic style. It doesn't always follow this, but this is the preferred way. It ends, and I meant to put, we start out very general for our introductory paragraph, and we move towards a thesis, and a thesis is very specific. So we go from general to specific. The opposite happens with our conclusion. Actually, we want to restate the thesis for the conclusion and then move out to a general statement. And that's why I have these as triangles. So this represents that it's very general. This is very specific. We start with very specific, restating our thesis, and end with a general statement. And when I say restate your thesis, you don't say this exact same sentence. You kind of restate it and say 3 important, inspiring sports figures of Tim Tebow, Louis Lamborghini, and Bo Jackson. And we're going to, so you're going to restate your thesis. I'm not sure what you want to have your thesis be yet. So let's just work a little bit. Let me get another blank piece of paper here. And to start out general, you're going to start with something as general as you can think of regarding your topic. So sports attracts people of all ages. How about not sports? Well, we could do sports. The players are followed and I'm going to use worshipped, but I'm not sure if that's a good word. And worshipped by the fans. There are a few players that have inspired fans of all ages by not only their performance on the playing field, but also their performance off of the field. And I haven't researched the topic like you have, so I'm kind of making this up because I really don't know very much about your topic. It's an interesting topic, but I really don't know very much about it. And remember to do the full 2.0 for your double space, and be sure and put your running head and your heading. And then we need to kind of keep narrowing it down. So we started with sports of all ages, then we went to players and how people are fans of sports, and then we're talking about a few players that have inspired fans. There are a few players that have inspired fans of all ages by not only their performance on the playing field, but off their performance off the field. These players overcame overwhelming odds off the field. Well, Tim Tebow didn't, so we can't say that. He just lived his life out. These players bring their personal convictions to the field and to their trying to think, you've mentioned Bo Jackson and how he got hurt, but he used that for his benefit. These players bring their personal conviction and drive from the playing field into their lives. 3 outstanding men who were also athletes are Tim Tebow, Louis Zamborini, and Bo Jackson. Now this right here would be your thesis statement, and this tells the reader that we're going to be talking about Tim Tebow, Louis Lamborghini, and Bo Jackson. And that's what so I didn't say, this paper will be about, but that's the point of it. That's what you're trying to get, is you're trying to list first paragraph, second paragraph, and third paragraph. And when you write it, you might want to beef it up a little bit, add a little bit more to it, because this is just 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it's 5 sentences, and a good paragraph is usually 5 to 7 sentences. And when we go to the next paragraph, I don't know why that happened. When we go to the next paragraph, we're going to start in with Tim Tebow, and we're going to have to bring the fact that it's our first paragraph. And we had this. I'm going to just copy and paste it over. And I'm going to make it all 12 point. It's interesting it pasted that. And get this into 2 double spaced. On a brisk Thursday in mid-November, fans sat in the stands at a Denver game listening as cuss words were shouted at Tim Tebow, the struggling quarterback of the Denver Broncos. We kind of need a bit of a more introductory sentence here, although that is a good visualization. I can see that. 3 outstanding men who also... But we kind of need like a topic sentence. Tebow brought his convictions. Tebow's convictions were seen in every game. On a brisk such as a brisk Thursday in mid-November, when fans sat in the stands at a Denver Bronco game listening as cuss words were shouted at Tim Tebow. And then you can continue on with your paragraph, of course, fixing the capitalization and a few punctuation errors. And so then you'll continue on that paragraph. And then you have the Louis Zamperini. Tim Tebow's convictions were seen in every game. So we were talking about outstanding men who are also athletes, so we need to start our second paragraph about Lamperini to tie it back into the thesis statement. Louis Zamperini another outstanding man and athlete. And so I'm just doing this in a positive because I want this to go back to right here because I want it to relate to my thesis statement. Louis Zamperini, another outstanding man and athlete, and then you can just start right in, competed in the 1936 Berlin, and watch your capitalization. Remember, you need to capitalize places and countries. Okay, and so then you'll continue on your paragraph. And your next one was Bo Jackson. If you mention Bo Jackson in any clubhouse today, you get the same answer. He could be the best athlete to play the game or any game. Bo Jackson. How about we could go ahead and start with, if you mention Bo Jackson in any clubhouse, you would learn that he is an outstanding, so I'm going back again to my thesis, an outstanding man and fans would say that he could be the best, and that's where we start best athlete to play the game or any game, and then you could start right into that. So though you want your topic sentences of each of your body paragraphs to relate back to your thesis sentence, and remember our introduction goes from very general to specific, it ends with our thesis, then you relate your thesis to your topic sentence of each body paragraph. And now let's go down to the conclusion. And the conclusion, we're going to restate this thesis. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste it. 3 outstanding men who are also athletes are Tim Tebow, Louis Zamperini, and Bo Jackson. And I want to restate it, not copy it. Tim Tebow, Louis Zamperini, and Bo Jackson showed how outstanding, and I keep using that word because I want everyone to know it goes back to that thesis. Now don't use it in the body of your paragraph, but just to kind of have a common thread throughout the whole paper. Tim Tebow, Louis Zamperini, and Bo Jackson showed how outstanding they were in overcoming obstacles in life and the playing field. And now we're going to do the opposite of what we did in our intro. Now we're going to go out further. So we had 3 men, and they were outstanding men, and they overcame obstacles. And we could go obstacles, maybe how a man handles obstacles is what makes him a great man. So now I'm out to man, just a no face man. The playing field gives fans a view of how a person is able to overcome I want to say an enemy, but it's not really an enemy. Gives fans a view of how a person is able to overcome. How about how to win a competition? Some players cannot take that winning attitude into their lives off of the field, but those players who can become true inspirations. Okay, so just continue along. So try and move out away from them and about why it is you picked those three men. You find them outstanding, they inspire you, they inspired you on the field, they inspire you in life, and so go out as general as you can to end it. And so when we look at our layout of a research paper, we have an introduction, and it goes from general to specific thesis. Our conclusion goes from thesis, restated thesis, to general. And so you're going to have to define what it is you're wanting to say about these three men. And I haven't researched it, so I'm making a lot of that stuff up. But that's what you get to do as a writer. You get to make things up. But in a research paper, you want to have everything you say based on facts. And so I know you've researched them, so yours will be a little bit different. Watch your capitalization. There's a few punctuation errors. Double space, put your running head, put your research paper heading on the first page. If I did not go over that with you, let me know. I know what you turned in was just a draft. But so far so good getting this research paper done. The hardest part's getting organized. The easier part is writing, in my opinion. The organization's what takes so long. So you've already done the hard part. You've got your sources, you've done your research, you have your outlines done, and now you have your body paragraph drafts done. So now you're in, hopefully, the easier part of it where you are putting it together. And so after you do this and get your intro and conclusions written, we're going to be adding some dress ups, so be thinking about that as you're writing if you want to go ahead and start adding dress ups, but that's not going to be part of your homework for this week. This week's just getting that intro and conclusion, and then next time we will work on adding some dress ups and doing a technique that I call adding clinchers. But right now for this week, just add your intro, add your conclusions, and get it cleaned up for capitalization, punctuation, usage, and spelling. I didn't see any spelling errors, but you always get graded for spelling. That's the end of the video.